And we all are so grateful to welcome our moderator, C.S. Trupti Kapadia, for her opening remark and introduction of the panelists. जोरदार तालियों से स्वागत करें C.S. Trupti Kapadia. Thank you so much, ma'am. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our eminent speaker for this panel. Over to you, ma'am.
So, hello, namaste. Good afternoon, everybody. I hope we will be very, very mindful about the timelines and keep it crisp. Lunch se jo bhi bahar hai, please I request you all to join us for the session. Back to back, the whole morning session filled, and I'm sure there was a lot of insights. So we are going to have a little different format for this particular panel discussion. We'll actually have a discussion, not presentation. Very quickly, without wasting any more time, I will request the panelists one by one as I introduce them to please come up on the stage. So first, I would like to invite Dr. Madhumita Chakrabarti, my apologies, Dr. Madhumita Chakrabarti. She is currently a professor at Indian Institute of Management, Lucknow, in the area of finance and accounting. She has been working at IIM Lucknow since 2008 and teaches courses like financial reporting and analysis, financial management, behavioral finance, and international finance. Before joining IIM Lucknow, she has worked as assistant professor at Department of Management Studies, IIT Delhi. She has completed her PhD from Faculty of Management Studies, University of Delhi. She has extensively published her research work in several national and international journals of repute. So welcome, ma'am. We have two ladies joining. So next, I would like to invite on the stage Mrin Agarwal. She is the founder director of FinSafe and co-founder Vumantra, member on advisory committee of SEBI Investor Protection Education Fund. She is in the space of financial education company for the financial well-being. In last 7 years, FinSafe has impacted more than 150,000 people to lead better financial lives. Mrin has 25 years of experience in wealth management and has worked with Citibank, Deutsche Bank, and Birla Sun Life. She has extensive experience in investment advisory and banking, debt and stock markets, and is regularly interviewed by CNBC TV, ET Now, Z Business, Bloomberg, Quint. She regularly contributes articles to print, including monthly columns in Mint, Money Control, Deccan, Herald, Business Standard, Economic Times, and a lot of online media. She has won the CNBC Grand Jury Prize for the work done towards financial education and inclusion in UTI CNBC Financial Advisory Awards 2015-17. Next, another very multifaceted personality I would like to invite upon stage, Prachi Tiwari Gandhi. She is a sociologist from Delhi School of Economics and founder of Ananta Foundation, ex-lecturer at Delhi University, an author, holistic health professional with honorary doctorate from Apollo Research Center, happiness coach from Berkeley, accredited external social auditor from France, presently pursuing PhD in financial inclusion and women's empowerment. We have two ladies joining from representing UNESCO who will be joining us online. Just bear up with me for 2 minutes till we get them online. So while we get them online, I'll just quickly introduce them to you. So Dr. Razgat is a team leader of Quality Learning's Ecosystems Program at UNESCO Institute of Lifelong Learning, which I will be talking as UIL in Hamburg, Germany. She coordinates the design and implementation of online training programs and face-to-face workshops at global as well as national levels. In addition, she provides policy advice and technical support to member states in advancing youth and adult literacy agenda. Her colleague, Annapurna Ayappan, is an assistant program specialist at the UNESCO Institute of Lifelong Learning and a member of Quality Learning Ecosystem team. She coordinates the UIL's Learning Hub, an online learning platform that offers thematic training courses and learning opportunities ranging from planning for lifelong learning and adult education. So with this, we have introduced the jury members or the dignitaries for the panel discussion. We'll just give it 2 minutes till we get our online members. In the meantime, I could probably just set the tone for the discussion. So essentially, today what we are talking about is, formally I would just say welcome to panel 3 discussion, which is women's role in digital financial inclusion. So essentially what we are talking about, A, is financial literacy as regards women. B, what has digitalization really done to this entire landscape of women literacy space? Has it been further complicated, or are we solution oriented there to make more headway into penetration of financial literacy to a larger audience? So on one hand, where we have a lot of women ignorant about the basics of finance, and there being a lot of statistics, there's a lot of data available on internet, we come across a lot of articles, कहीं ना कहीं हमने सबने बहुत कुछ पढ़ा है, which ultimately boils down to one simple point, that women are trailing men when it comes to financial decision making. But having said that, on the other hand, we do have a lot of leadership roles being driven by women in big banks, in startups, entrepreneurs. So there is this huge extreme that we see where the women financial literacy is seesawing. So let's try to have this discussion with this backdrop to try and see what kind of balance or what can we do today to really take it forward and have an environment which is inclusive for one and all. So with that backdrop, do we have any update on them joining? So we can start, yes, I'll do that. We can just start the discussion. All right, so I'm humbled to have such, sharing the same frame with such esteemed path-breaking dignitaries, totally humbled. So I'll begin setting first things first. My first question to Dr. Madhumita Chakrabarti, since you are an academist, how would you really express fintech? The whole discussion today is finance marrying technology in some form. And there are various takes of fintech and understanding about it. So let's lay the foundation right. What is fintech and how would you express it to a layman? There is a second leg to my question. How do you see youth inclining towards fintech courses? What kind of ratio do you see when it comes to women, and any particular trends that you foresee in coming days with digitalization coming in?
Am I on? Yeah, it's fine. Yes. Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. We are equally happy. I think this is fine. I think we are equally happy to share the stage with you as well as the other dignitaries. So, to come to your question, I must say that, this fintech is nothing new today. It's basically the use of technology in enhancing and experiencing the financial services, which we all understand. And it's again something which is not happening just today. It's been there for quite some time. The credit card itself is a fintech innovation, which has happened sometime in 1960s. We have had the demat trading, the online banking. All of that comes within the arena of fintech. But today we are talking about it more because it's kind of disruptive and it is kind of reaching every nook and corner of the country and the globe. And that's why we are so much interested in it. Now, when it comes to talking about the way people are interested in these courses, well, I see a good amount of interest in the courses amongst the youth. And at IIM, I would say that we have our students who are more or less equipped with those ideas and understandings. However, when it comes to the larger institutions of the country, we do see a kind of interest that's evolving, and it's very important. Women, just like the other, education, kind of trailing behind, but definitely when it comes to women taking it up, they're never trailing behind. So the point is that we have to evoke the interest and we have to show them that it is something of great importance and value to them. And I'm sure the picking up rate would be as good as the men. I would, but at the same time, say that the data from World Bank says that everywhere when it comes to the men and women, the gap is there. So if the men are using the mobile phones at the rate of, the percentage in their survey from about 40,000 plus individuals, if the men are about 37%, the women are about 27%. So a gap of 10% is not less in a 100 crore plus country. So therefore, we have to ensure that this literacy goes so much to this, gender. And therefore, as Trupti was saying, that it's very important that the woman is empowered. That actually, she's the Shakti. If you all would agree to that, she is the Shakti. And once you give her that Shakti, if that is unleashed, wonders can happen to this world. That's my take on this.
Thank you so much. So we do see a lot of progress and a lot of greening of grounds that is happening when it comes to the younger lot. All right. Moving ahead, I will ask the next question to Mrin Agarwal. Ma'am, you have actually had a startup where you are dealing day in and day out with a lot of women, and there is an education being imparted. So I could rightly term you as, a Fin influencer in some form. So what is the vogue that you see as a culture of being a Fin influencer? Do you find women reacting or accepting a lot more action if there is a female influencer to kind of take her to the next level? Or is it a very generic kind of an environment?
Well, I think that this whole Fin influencer is just a trend right now. And, you have to understand what are they doing. At best, they're just sharing what are their experiences, probably what are their positive experiences. But for all the positive experiences being shared, what about the negative experiences, right? And also, today, you have most of the Fin influencers who are there today do not have any certification, do not have any financial advisory background. And when you deal with people's money, 80% is about their behavior and only 20% is about the instrument, right? So you can tell someone the right, you can tell people to buy a SIP in a mutual fund, but if they don't hold it long enough or for the right period, they're not going to have a good experience. So I do not believe that the financial influencer whole thing is something that people should really be learning from. Those are not the right learning resources. And I think towards that, there is some regulation coming in place as well.
That's quite a welcome initiative, I would say. So, primarily the way we say that, SEBI सब जगह बोलता है कि registered brokers के through transaction करो. It's the same analogy we draw here, that at least the one who is imparting should be certified enough and the right authority to kind of talk. Okay, I take it a little forward, and I would invite Prachi to share her views on, since behavior was touched upon, what kind of behavioral differences do you see between men and women when it really comes to financial services, and more so now digital financial services?
Yeah, hi everyone. I've actually worked in a little bit different field. I worked in the field of microfinance. So I deal with very poor women for whom financial services itself is a challenge. And thankfully, because of the kind of financial inclusion policies that the government has, we are able to increase our outreach to more and more women in the financial inclusion space, microfinance वाली ladies. तो एज इट इज़ उनके साथ काफ़ी अपने हमें प्रॉब्लम्स दिखती हैं, और डिजिटल में तो नाउ इज़ गोइंग टू बी नेक्स्ट लेवल स्टोरी. Having said that, empowerment is also economic empowerment is also something जो कि is something that we can look forward to. तो जनरल अगर मेन और वुमेन को कंपेयर करें, जो तृप्ति ने क्वेश्चन पूछा, उसमें जैसे आपने भी बोला कि मेन का अपटेक काफ़ी हाई है फाइनेंशियल इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स को यूज़ करने का, और वुमेन तो काफ़ी धीमे ही आ रही हैं इस फील्ड में. एक स्लाइड है, अगर आप आपके आईटी वाले
स्लाइड प्लीज
वुमेन एंड मेन का कंपैरिजन करें तो बहुत सिंपली पुट है आपका पास. यू हैवंट गिवन मी दैट ना, वो लगा दो स्लाइड आप पीछे. मेरे को तो 3 स्लाइड्स दिखानी है, अच्छी स्लाइड्स हैं. तो एनी हाउ, तो इस तरह कि वुमेन का क्या इशू है, एटीएम कार्ड यूज़ करने में डर लगता है कि मशीन कार्ड खा जाएगी. एटीएम कार्ड तक मतलब बैंक तक जाना मुश्किल है उनके लिए. तो डिजिटल तो अभी बहुत दूर की बात है. लेकिन अगर हम मैं एम्पावरमेंट पे भी बताई दूँ.
हाँ जी,
आप स्लाइड लगाओ. बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग. नेक्स्ट बेटा, नेक्स्ट स्लाइड.
Can you just move to the next slide, please?
Yeah, so this one was very interesting, where women have very much lower levels of confidence. Higher level of confidence is shown by men everywhere. These are, studies done by Ford Foundation, Gates Foundation, and Microsave with women garment workers in India. Women don't want to access ATM. Men use financial services and use the ATM quite highly. So they are 91% of the men surveyed said that we use ATMs alone, whereas very few women were reported to use ATMs. 48% of women reported that वो पिन नंबर जो अपना होता है वो भी शेयर कर लेती हैं किराने की दुकान वाले से while using the ATM. So this is the level of non-knowledge that we have in digital financial services as of now. This is real picture of real people in the field. So we need to really look at this. Empowerment बोलना तो बड़ा अच्छा लगता है, लेकिन अगर आप पिन नंबर ही अपना बता दोगे तो आपका तो सारा पैसा ही निकल जाएगा अकाउंट से, और ये हुआ है लोगों के साथ. 57% of the women reported needing assistance while using ATM. Again, like I said, they're scared of card getting stuck. and they also don't want to go to ATM. They want support of family members. नहीं बेटा जाएगा तो जाऊंगी, देवर के साथ चली जाऊंगी, वगैरह वगैरह. These are common issues that we have. Having said this, can we play the next slide? Yeah. Please do it. Will you give me the thing? Then there is this very interesting mobile gender gap report which says that even when women do possess a mobile phone, 81% of women who did own a mobile phone, only 31%, most of them are not comfortable operating the mobile phone, and very few, 36% of the women actually have smartphones. So if you don't have smartphones, then anyway DFS becomes a problem. Correct? Next one. जमतरा कितने लोगों ने देखा है? सिर्फ 2, 3, बहुत कम. और बाकी किसी ने जमतरा देखा ही नहीं है नेटफ्लिक्स पे. आपको देखना चाहिए. डिजिटल फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज के लिए जमतरा जैसा सीजन, आप ऑप्शनिटीज छोड़ दीजिए, बहुत ज़रूरी है देखना. अगर आप इस फील्ड में हैं, तो अगर आप ये नहीं देखेंगे तो ये फ्रॉड्स जो हो रहे हैं ये मेरे साथ भी हुए हैं. तो एम्पावरमेंट के बारे में मैं बताऊंगी अभी, बट नॉन एम्पावरमेंट कैसे होती है इज पार्ट ऑफ दिस. नाउ दिस इज अ लेडी, आई विल जस्ट शो यू अ स्मॉल क्लिप. दिस इज अ लेडी इन, लगा दोगे आप इसको, ऑन कर दो प्लीज. देखिए
शर्मा बोल रहा हूँ.
तो ब्लॉक कैसे हो गया ऐसे कार्ड मेरा?
मैडम इतना घबराने की जरूरत नहीं है. अच्छा सर नंबर तो बता दे. मेरा नंबर कितने दिया आपको?
नमस्कार सर, मैं SDI बैंक से स्वाति बात कर रही हूँ. सर हमारे बैंक के सालाना लकी ड्रॉ में आपका अकाउंट नंबर पहले नंबर पर निकला है और सर बैंक की तरफ से आपको नई मारुति दी जा रही है.
मारुति खान,
ये टीचर है स्कूल में.
सच में?
सर पुष्टि करना चाहूँगी कि आपका नाम शंकर जयदीप है.
जी जी बिल्कुल, वो सब छोड़िए, बताइए कार कैसे मिलेगी?
जी सर आपके पास कार्ड तो होगा?
कार्ड? हाँ वो कार्ड है मेरे पास.
हाँ तो सर आपका कार्ड नंबर और उसकी एक्सपायरी डेट हमें बताइए सर.
6216820537.
हेलो सर, मैं स्वाति बोल रही हूँ टिकरी बैंक से. सर आपका ATM कार्ड एक्सपायरी होने वाला है सर.
अरे ऐसे कैसे एक्सपायर हो जाएगा?
सर हमारे सिस्टम में दिखा रहा है.
अब बोल कहाँ से रहे?
सर ज्यादा सवाल ना पूछे, हाँ या ना.
अबे चूतिया समझ रखा है क्या बहनचोद? साले तेरे बाप लोग को मैं चूतिया बना दूं, तू मुझे चूतिया बनाएगा लौड़े. गांडू भोसड़ी के नहीं रखना तो काहे बात कर रहा है बे?
ये
ब्रांच से स्वाति मिश्रा बात कर रही हूँ.
3081-2523 and my CVV is
English
6 to
speaking
6.
highly
Has my card been
educated woman.
upgraded? Okay, thank you.
नमस्कार सर, मैं SDI बैंक से बबीता कौशिक बात कर रही हूँ.
बैंक से?
जी सर. सर बताना चाहूँगी कि आपके खाते को 50,000 की लॉटरी लगी है. सर इनाम की राशि पाने के लिए आपको आपके
You got the drift. These are all snippets of fraud कैसे किया जाता है. Fraud is a huge thing in digital financial services. We are talking about all the good parts of it. But unless, आप कुछ पूछ रहे हैं? Unless we keep in mind what are the risks, and that's where AWOC comes in. Unless we have the right trainings, we have the right people sitting with especially poor women, client protection जिसको बोलते हैं हम microfinance में, we are going to be in a huge mess. Please remember, it's a huge mess we are looking at, not empowerment. Empowerment मैं बताती हूँ कैसे. दिखाइए अगले में. Sorry, अगला कर दीजिए. Trupti, sorry, but
Yeah, no, I will kind of skip the next question. You can cover it right now. Yes, so the PPT work is done.
अगला दिखा दूँ. Sorry, हम थोड़ा सा digitally हम थोड़ा सा fast नहीं है, but for women in the poorer sections, empowerment in economic terms, because there are levels and levels of empowerment. हम लोग generally बोल देते हैं women's empowerment. विमेन की एम्पावरमेंट बहुत डीप लेवल पे होती है, बहुत सारे लेवल्स पे देखना पड़ता है. तो बेसिक है फूड, आपकी वेलफेयर लेवल ऑफ एम्पावरमेंट. सेकंड इज़ योर इकोनॉमिक लेवल ऑफ एम्पावरमेंट. जब आपके पास कुछ पैसे हैं, आप कुछ लोन ले रही हैं या आप कुछ सेविंग्स कर रही हैं और फिर आप उनको यूज़ कर रही हैं अपना एंटरप्राइज बढ़ाने के लिए या अपनी फैमिली को सपोर्ट करने के लिए. आर यू एबल टू प्ले द नेक्स्ट वन? या
So probably we can take it when they are ready.
Okay.
In the meantime, we can take another question. Right. So do we have Annapurna online? Can somebody please let me know? She is? Right.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, hi. We have already introduced both the lovely ladies joining from UNESCO, and we've spoken a little about the Indian landscape. Let's try and understand a little bit of international scenario. So my first question would be, what are the barriers and opportunities or probabilities, as you may say, for improving educational opportunities for women in the context of the increased digitalization of economy and society?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Tripti. First of all, namaste to everyone. Thank you everyone for this wonderful opportunity. I consider it an honor to be part of this esteemed panel. So before I begin, I think I want to highlight one thing, that we cannot divorce digital skills from the overall educational opportunities that women have. Lack of basic literacy skills is inextricably linked with the lack of basic digital skills. And several of the panelists have already highlighted so many examples about how this is true. Now, this obviously limits access and their ability to avail financial services or exercise their financial skills. Now, at this moment, I would like to share that India is one of the 30 countries which is part of the Global Alliance for Literacy, which are committed to improving literacy skills for youth and adults around the world. Now, this alliance is supported by the UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning, which I am representing today. Allow me to share a few statistics. The latest statistics show that India has still 266 million youth and adults who lack basic literacy skills. Now, women's literacy within this stands at 66%. Although the literacy rate for female youth has been improving, and currently I'm very proud to say that it is at 90%, but when you look at the women between the age group of 25 to 64, this is only 62%. So clearly we have a very long way to go. Now, at the global level, which you asked, Tripti, in the beginning, the notion of literacy in the current context of India and also the world is expanding to go beyond the ability to read and write, but also to include financial literacy, digital skills, and media and information literacy. And now we saw how through the Jamtara example, and ma'am, I've seen this series and I think it's such a good example to showcase what you're trying to say. We saw in that example how even media and information literacy, how to even respond to such phishing emails is such an important and critical part of using financial services. Now, the above statistics which I shared with you just a few moments before, they don't really do justice because they are proxy indicators. They are not the skills that are demonstrated in practice. So what this means is that having digital skills alone is not going to make wonders. There is a need to provide lifelong learning opportunities for women and to create and sustain an enabling learning environment to practice these digital and financial skills, especially when you start at the grassroots levels. Because as the demands for higher levels of digital skills and financial literacy are increasing with the advent of more advanced technologies. Now, we are all talking about this digital financial literacy. What it is sitting at the intersection of digital literacy and financial literacy, and this enables users to take full advantage of the digital financial services. I myself have downloaded a lot of apps, ranging from HDFC to, trying to also invest in SIPs. And one thing that I'm really learning is I need to really develop my own digital skills, my own financial literacy skills before I can, make these investments that might have an impact in my own, future and how I participate in the economy. So as a youth, one thing I would like to share is there is another very critical barrier for financial inclusion of women, which relates to the dominant gendered perspectives and expectations. Now, women are often seen as nurturers and caretakers as opposed to men who are the traditional breadwinners of the family. So in this context, if we look at the global literacy rates, out of 763 million illiterate youth and adults, two-thirds are women. And also the International Labour Organization has released its statistics on labor participation, and we find that there is a very stark contrast. For women, it is 47%, while for men, it is 72%. Now, this gender divide exists also in how women are accessing and using technology. Some of the panelists earlier shared how there is a mobile gender gap. And I would like to say that the reports also show that 16% of women are less likely than men to even use mobile internet. So I believe sincerely that it is no coincidence that the data is so skewed for literacy, for digital access, and for labor market participation, and all of which are going to have financial inclusion, which will impact financial inclusion negatively. So this is what I would like to share, Tripti, in terms of what are the barriers at the international level.
Thank you. It was very insightful to know the role India is going to play towards the global scenario when it comes to digital financial literacy. So moving ahead, since everybody is highlighting about there has to be good trainings, or the forum has to be right, or the right teaching skills have to be there. I take this question now to again our academist on the panel, that how do you see a behavioral change, or rather I would say, what is the kind of behavioral change that you see when financial literacy is imparted? What kind of power does one really see the change in?
Yeah. So actually, when it comes to financial literacy, we have done some studies and we have tried to see what is the financial behavior that is desired of a person. We have seen that mostly the literature revolves around 4 behavior: savings, investment, borrowing, and insurance. And when it comes to these 4 kinds of behavior, a person who is more financially literate are likely to have done these financial activities. But again, I do always appreciate the fact that there is a class of people, let's say the rural women and others, the lesser educated ones, have issues about this, but there is also a large chunk who are educated and yet they are not getting the right kind of access and education, and that also needs to be taken care of and adhered to, while fully appreciating the other risks of it. So therefore, the empowerment part and the risk part both go hand in hand, and we can't be oblivious of one when we are discussing the other. All have to go together. Absolutely. And so I have, in our studies, we have felt that the mobile proficiency, the digital proficiency are the ones which have helped people to get into those kinds of desirable behavior, which I was mentioning, the 4 behavior in the finance. The other thing that most of us are probably not addressing, and I think the regulators and the authorities need to address, is what is the kind of communication, let's say the mutual fund, is giving away to the takers or the investors in the mutual fund. We have done an experimental study in our research, and it has got published in a very high journal. We have shown that the document which is going out to the people, the highlights of the document, if the highlights the way they are currently given, people are not able to comprehend those documents. Right. But the moment those documents are simplified, and these documents are readable, I'm not talking of the rural women again, I'm talking of the women who are capable of investing. It becomes really cumbersome to go through the details of even a 1-page highlight of a mutual fund document. And that is something we are always talking about, the recipients, that they should be financially literate. But I think what is very important for the regulators to understand is that what is the kind of communication that is getting sent out? Is it a readable document at all? Let us understand those readability issues of the people. Let's get into some non-technical jargons and help the people understand what they're going to do. So therefore, when we have done this experiment about readability, we found an enormous change in the people's shift towards the likelihood of investing in that mutual fund rather than not investing. A person who was getting a document which is getting circulated today is not interested in the investment, but a person who was given a document which is in very easier language said that, yes, I'll go ahead and invest. So I believe that, it's not just the recipients of financial literacy, it's also about the people who are giving the financial products should understand that we are dealing with people who should be able to comprehend what we are sending out. And these are also, so there has to be a holistic approach to the things rather than just addressing the financial literacy or the digital financial literacy of the users. So I think that is what I wanted to say.
Thank you. So yes, a very, very absolutely valid point, ma'am, that you raised, that the understandability becomes the bottom line. And the minute somebody understands, there is a conviction in the action that is a transformed thing immediately. So the behavior is very, very connected to the comfort zone that we can get the investor into. So while regulators do take a lot of time and again, there are a lot of initiatives where mutual funds, you see the riskometer coming, or the offer document was brought down to a one-pager. We still have a little ground to cover till it kind of hits the grassroots. Sure, ma'am. So now that we're talking about the learnability and, the kind of training, Amrin, I will come to you again and try and ask that when you are trying to impart these trainings, it's not just restricted to financial literacy, it's dealing with a lot of tools. So how recipient are they, or what are the impediments when it comes to dealing with financial tools, either at a learning stage or mindset or execution?
Yeah, so just talking about making documents easy, now you know why people don't take health insurance. Try reading the policy wordings. You'll leave it after you read 10 lines. All right. I think, there's still a lot of stereotyping of women. So my company primarily deals in the corporate working women. And of course, we also deal with men, but primarily we're looking at educating the working professionals. And what I have found is that in our own sessions, women don't turn up for programs where men are there. Of course, if you do women-only programs, there is more participation. But there's still a lot of hesitancy. So, when we talk about educated working women, while we have tried to make them economically independent and our mindset has changed to let women go out and work and probably dress the way they want to and do everything else. But the one aspect in which I think mindset has not changed among the educated class in India is letting women or involving women in managing money. And this stereotyping continues, and this is one of the reasons that women themselves, I have met I've met a woman surgeon who said, oh God, talk to me about spending money, but not about investing money. Or I have met, the most successful women running businesses telling me, I only sign the check, right? And, I think there are two aspects to this. One, we are never brought up to think, we are always brought up to think that managing money is a man's domain, and women cannot do it well. So there is a clear lack of knowledge, lack of confidence issue. And the other thing is that of course, the financial services industry itself, the way they conduct themselves, like I tell you, when I walk into a bank, people don't know that I'm a financial advisor, but I'm always being sold an insurance policy. Even the teller of a bank is trying to sell me something. Right. So, the point is that you don't know much, and then somebody is always trying to sell you something, and you don't know who to go and ask. For all the men in the room, cross your heart and tell me, if a woman in your family came and asked you anything about money matters, would you have actually answered her?
Okay, sure. So Yes. So when we actually, break down what you have just mentioned, there is a lot of intimidation that happens, and that creates a huge impediment to break the ice and get them learning, right? So moving further, now having taken a step ahead, yes, I am coming back to you, and what kind of risk do you see? I would like or request you to cover risk and empowerment together. So before that, I could probably very quickly, because again, the screen will go out, so I will just come to Annapurna. I'm sorry for that, but because we'll have your presentation. So Annapurna, I come to you trying to say what, are the promising practices for integrated education and skills training for digital and financial inclusion of women. So global practices which integrate both worlds, which probably could be replicated in India. A very quick, response, and we will try to stick to the time. So I'll just request you to kind of give a very quick feedback in a minute.
Thank you, Tripti. I think I'll just summarize some of the lessons first, and then maybe if there is time at the end, I would like to share some very interesting examples from Rwanda or from Jordan, because I think these are very relevant to what ma'am shared earlier also about, the local context, getting women interested in the training and so on. So the first thing is clearly, as you said in your question, Tripti, one way forward is an integrated approach to digital skills, financial skills and literacy skills, and which also emphasizes through these trainings how improved financial skills for women further empowers them to seek new opportunities to learn and contribute. From UNESCO's perspective, working in the field of lifelong learning, we recognize the importance of empowering women with digital and financial skills in improving the economic and social status of women in society. But some of the lessons from practices and across the developing economies are, I can summarize them as 5 key lessons. The first one being that there has to be targeted and holistic initiatives that encourage women and girls outside of the formal education system to pursue opportunities in the digital sectors. And these opportunities should consider all barriers, including lack of accessibility, affordability, and relevance, low levels of digital skills, and concerns around data and security. The second big lesson I have to share here is that develop and offer online content and services which are accessible to women with limited literacy skills. So make it more visual, add more visual aids, add more case studies, add more videos, and also make it available in multiple local languages and diverse levels of digital skills. Because these women-centric programs, which are designed for women, keeping women in mind, is critical for achieving impact. Now, the third lesson is delivery of digital inclusion programs at scale, considering also the width of our country, needs multi-stakeholder and multi-sectoral collaboration. It cannot happen by one program in one area. Lesson 4 is that we need to identify existing women-led initiatives within the communities and build on these activities to provide learning opportunities for improving their financial and digital skills. For example, women's saving groups or self-help groups. Finally, identify role models within the community so that they are able to develop confidence and create mentorship opportunities within safe spaces. The last lesson I would like to leave you with is, given the increased dependence on artificial intelligence and emerging technologies for learning opportunities and financial services, for example, we Google, how do I open an account? And then Google shows up 100 different links. How do you know critically which one is the one that you need to follow? And also, a lot of these have a very strong gender bias because it is, the AI system evolves with human inputs. And we find that most of these human inputs are male-dominated inputs, and therefore the system is trained to produce results for men. So how do you, break this gender discrimination or this gender bias within AI system so that there are women are able to safely participate in digital services? Now, this raises many legal and ethical issues for policymakers and regulators to make sure that digital finance service providers use artificial intelligence for credit scoring, for client or service selection, and these are more accountable, and that their decisions are more transparent. So that's what I would like to share here.
Thank you. A very, very important thing that you raised, that make it more visual, you know, with the shrinking attention spans and the social media flashing all over with MBM videos, etc. That would come very handy, and people resonate to that a lot more better. So without any further delay, I will try to hand it over again to Prachi to address the risk-related aspects.
Garima, can you just play the slide, darling? I'm not going to go into details of this. We are all educated and highly, read people here. So in March 2022, RBI has issued a guideline. This is for general, if they can show, then you will get to see it. And this was called Be Aware, Beware, and then the A is in bracket, a booklet on the modus operandi of financial frauds, and it takes care of a lot of digital fraud. So it's a link that I have provided. If anybody would like, you could sort of, no, the next slide. Thank you. It's, no, the one next to this. Thank you. I'll explain this later. Go to the RBI slide, which has that meme made on it. Next level, next slide. Next, this one. So if any of you would be interested, this is a great booklet to have, and prepare, also very good for preparing trainings. And then at the end, can you just do the next slide, please? Briefly, these are the kind of precautions we all need to take. This is also part of the RBI guidelines. Do not click on unknown, unverified links, things we know, unsubscribe to mails. Always go to the official website of your bank. And incidentally, last year, I faced a fraud. There was some bank operation happening, and I was getting messages that, money is going out. My phone had been used for some other purpose, and OTP was shared by my phone. And I went online. This was at 3 in the night. I went online, and I picked up the ICICI customer care number. It was a number that was not valid, and I was speaking to the fraudsters. So please be careful. I'm highly educated, but I faced it too, and I lost some money. Anyhow, could we go back to just that slide about the lady, yellow sari. Now, having said all of these about fraud and risk and scary stuff, I just want to very briefly talk about one level, one lady who, this is my Didi at home, and I just feel do we need long studies to see her empowerment. One day she came recently and said, Didi, Baba, जमीन खरीद रहा है और 2 लाख मेरे को भेजना है यहाँ से, तो कैसा करूँगा? और she is scared also to send the money with somebody, ट्रेन में चोरी हो सकता है, all kinds of things. But she said, मेरे पास बैंक अकाउंट है दीदी, तुम्हारा उससे पैसा दे दो और मैं भेज दूँगा. But please remember, there was somebody like me standing with her, telling her exactly what to do. This is what forever our cooperatives and people working in Gujarat like Seva and FWWB have done. Always said that women, to empower them, we need to handhold them. We need to first stand with them, that's me with her, and we need to help them do this not once, maybe 10 times, maybe 50 times, depending on their knowledge and how they take it. So for Didi, for Regina, can you just give me the next slide? Empowerment happened at 3 levels. Personal and individual level.
Now, yes.
Familial level, and at the process level. So this was great speed. She had purchasing power to have equal stake in the land of her father. There was no transaction cost that she had, which meant she saved her money, and this was a transparent and secure transaction that she made on her phone. Digital empowerment. Familial level, she told her brother, मैंने पैसा भेज दिया है, अब मेरा साइन मैं आके करूँगा, मेरा पूरा लैंड में मेरा पूरा हिस्सा है. So do you see societal change is happening? Because she is able to transfer her money digitally within a day, जो पट्टा है उस पे उसका भी नाम होगा, वो बेटी है. लेकिन हमारे यहाँ जेंडर नॉर्म्स में सिर्फ बेटों को लैंड मिलता है, उनके नाम से फादर लेता है. At personal individual level, she saved a whole day not having to go to the bank. मेरे यहाँ 20 मिनट में उसने पैसा भेज दिया. She says खड़ा होना पड़ता है बैंक की क्यू में वगैरह. Her other didis and other clients did not scold her कि हमें नहीं फर्क पड़ता, तुम काम पे आओ. And she felt a great sense of pride and dignity in her being able to share her father's economic burden. ये बेटी के लिए बहुत बड़ी चीज़ है. भावुक हो गई थी बहुत कि मैंने बाप को पैसा दिया. So this is the kind of empowerment, if done well, digital financial services can give to every woman in India.
हम आपको भी भावुक होते हुए देखते हैं, मैम. You got very emotional about it. So yes, we have a lot of questions, but in the interest of time, we will try to, just one last question for ma'am, because I want to leave the youth with points to ponder upon. While we have established to a very matured audience here a lot of points, I want the young people also leaving them with some takeaway from here. So some advice to the women who are online, young students who are online, who have joined us online today, for them a word on how do you really guide them to take financial services or finance related courses.
Okay. So I think, it's time to just plunge. Don't shy away. That's the whole thing. We have, the women have been shying away for a very long time, and it's time to wake up. Go plunge into the aspects, say that I can handle it. The moment you decide it for yourself that yes, you have that, you will ask people, you will seek out help from the right people, and then you will be able to do it. So that's what is all about. The men were not born with exceptional financial knowledge, nor were the women born with lesser financial knowledge. It's about a way of thinking that has been ingrained, and it's time that we have to think that, we are equal genders, equal, there is a lot of debate about all this. I mean, we are capable, both the genders are equally capable, and therefore we can handle it. So we need to take the plunge rather than shy away. And so whatever are the authentic sources of education in the field, try to understand those authenticity and then get into the education of it. That will probably be helpful further.
Excellent. I love the way you have actually said that the IQ doesn't make any gender bias. Right. So last but not the least, now just a quick minute on how we can get more women inclusive in this entire, that could be the entire takeaway of this discussion.
All right, so the gender pay gap in India is 20%. This is going to lead to a huge gap in women's wealth. So I think, as Dr. Madhumita said, that first and foremost, women need to believe in themselves that they can do it. Certainly, if they can become doctors and engineers, they can manage their money. That's point number one. I think, for all the stakeholders who are involved, which is, let's say, the government, the financial services industry, financial educators, all of us put together, I think we really need a big trend setter to come and talk about the importance of financial well-being. Today, everybody talks about depression openly just because a huge film star admitted to having mental well-being issues, right? So I think we also, we need to go above, every industry, every part of financial services is trying to rope in cricketers and film stars and all of that. But somewhere you need to get someone who's going to talk about the fact that, women financial wellness is a really important thing. And maybe, rope in Amitabh Bachchan or somebody, or a woman icon to talk about this. I think that's what it's going to take. And of course, be an informed investor, read the right information resources. Please do not fall for what you see on social media.
Thank you so much, lovely ladies, for all the lovely inputs very insightful, some path-breaking, and some leaving us with thoughts to ponder upon. So very quickly summarizing or maybe concluding, I take that liberty to just put two words to our entire discussion here. To begin with, absolutely, mindset is what is going to separate the best from the rest. So that being the foundation that we'll have to kind of work upon to get the basic belief system up and running, that we are not just homemakers, it is a big whole world outside, and we have a lot more CEOs to see who are leading women at higher authorities. So the belief system is a takeaway that I would kind of take it from here, so more power to women. Coming to the digitalization part of it, I recollect Einstein's words, legendary Einstein's words, if I may say so. I fear the day when technology will surpass human intervention. So we all know very, very clearly how technology is ruling, and very rightly pointed by Annapurna saying, the way Google throws up things and we run helter-skelter about a very peculiar, the intelligence thinking is somewhere being sabotaged, so to say. So I would bring out one more line from Steve Jobs to add to it, saying that yes, technology by itself is not going to, really make leaders. It is going to only empower them. So if we who are creating the AI, who are creating the machine language or digitalization, if we let the human spirit rule over technology, it could just be the best of all the worlds. And with those words, thank you very much, all the esteemed panelists. It was excellent to have a very healthy discussion out here, and much to the efforts that I have tried to be in time. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Trupti. You were great.
Thank you, Tripti.
Thank you so much, lovely ladies. And it was indeed a wonderful session. And once again, thank you for shedding light on such an important topic. And for the moment, I would like to invite on stage Mrs. Deepti Dwivedi, MD Earth Vipra, to, please join us on stage. Mrs. Deepti Dwivedi, MD Earth Vipra and former principal of DPS. Please welcome her with a huge round of applause. And I request ma'am to present memento to Miss Mrin Agarwal. Now I would like to invite on stage Mrs. Rekha Srivastava, socialist, to present memento to Professor Madhumita Chakrabarti, Professor of Finance and Accounting, Indian Institute of Management, Lucknow. Now I would like to call on stage Mrs. Monica Singh, socialist, to present memento to Mrs. Prachi Tiwari Gandhi. Come on, everyone. Now, ladies and gentlemen, last but not the least, please welcome Ms. Geeta Singh, Action Aid NGO Program Officer, to present memento. I request Mrs. Geeta Singh to present memento to C.S. Trupti Kapadia, ma'am. One thing that reminds me after this session is Nari Shakti Zindabad. Yeah, sure, please. All the